out the window when you're talking about main lines and secondary lines and later lines. What you do is you watch and see how things develop, and you go based on what you're seeing. And right now what we're seeing is a pretty significant line of showers and storms approaching Bainbridge. North of Highway 84 is where we have the most lightning, the strongest winds, and the potential for that hail, and now even some rotation. South and west of there, it's not like we're not getting wet, but you can see how the showers sort of disappear south of I-10 once you get back into parts of Gadsden County. So a lot of the activity right now north of the state line in parts of South Georgia, moving from west to east, and there is a bunch more that extends back further to the west. All of this is going to be moving into very unstable air over the next little while. As that happens, I suspect we're going to find more warnings issued, likely more severe thunderstorm warnings for those wind gusts up over 58 miles per hour, but also for some of that hail. And there's been quite a history of hail being produced in these individual cells. So for the next 2 or 3 hours, we expect to see, I think, quite a few of these warnings extending across parts of South Georgia. It doesn't mean we can't get some in North Florida. We absolutely can. But right now, the most dangerous activity is north of Highway 84 in Grady and Decatur counties. So that's the areas that we're most concerned with. And here's how it's moved over the past 3 hours. Fairly steady, moving with a little bit of a southwest to northeast orientation, but a lot of the motion is almost due east. So that's why it's that area, and you can see how that box is sort of elongated from north of Bainbridge to maybe just north of Thomasville. So this is the area we're going to be watching at least until 12:15, unless they reduce or drop that tornado warning before then. I don't think that they're going to. Now that yellow box extends a lot longer and for a longer period of time because those wind gusts in that entire area are going to be a lot more prevalent, plus we still have that hail. And we start talking quarter-sized hail. That can cause damage to roofs, that can cause damage to vehicles, that can cause damage to plants, that can cause damage to a lot of things out there. That's some significant hail once you start getting up to quarter-sized hail. So we'll certainly be watching all of this carefully between now and at least 12:15, but likely probably till 2 or 3 o'clock. And then hopefully some of the stabilization will take place as we get that cooler air coming down with the rain. And with a little bit of luck, we can start to calm down some of these dangerous individual cells. Now, the entire area is still going to be under that watch until 5 o'clock tonight. And this is not likely going to be the only round of showers and storms that we encounter today. That's going to be another one of our issues, is that there can be more activity as the day progresses. And as the day progresses and some of these other showers develop, sometimes they can help spawn other showers. Also, a lot of us have been noticing some of the areas, especially to the east, where we've been having those breaks of sunshine and that overcast. Well, that only adds extra destabilization. So that means a little more fuel for these storms to work with. So lots going on in a very tricky setup for the forecast for today. Now here's what it looks like, maybe a little bit bigger of a picture. We can see that batch of showers out ahead, and then there's plenty more that extends back to the west. So I do think we're going to find multiple waves of showers, and in each of those waves of showers, we can have the dangerous thunderstorms. Currently, the most dangerous one is where that radar indicated rotation is. That's just to the north and east of Bainbridge. It's just north of Highway 84 from Decatur and Grady counties. So that's the area right now. You want to make sure that you're in your safe place. You want to make sure you're in your shelters. You want to make sure that you're away from those exterior windows, walls, and doors. But it's that whole area with the yellow polygon, which is a big chunk of South Georgia, that has the potential for those damaging wind gusts and that hail. And once again, when we're talking about quarter-sized hail, that can cause some serious damage, not just to vehicles, but to plants, to homes, to everything outside. So it's a really good time to make sure that you are inside and everything's put away. Now, if we look further back to the west, I certainly do see a whole bunch of showers out there that are going to continue moving from west to east. Most of it does look like they're along I-10 and north. A lot of the worst weather that I've seen so far this morning as I've been tracking these storms has been right along the Florida and Alabama line. As it moves into Georgia, that's where we're going to find some of those showers and storms as well. And I do expect this to continue at least through 12:15, but likely for several hours into the afternoon. Now, there's still that talk that there's going to be more activity later on today and tonight, and there certainly can be. The cool front is way back here, a couple of 100 miles back behind this main energy. This main energy is where we have a couple of different wind fields sort of coming together. We call that converging. And where that happens, where that energy is, that's what kicks off these more dangerous thunderstorms. That's what we're seeing here in our area now. Very warm, very humid, very unstable air. It doesn't take much to develop these stronger wind gusts and these more dangerous thunderstorms. And of course, the potential for the rotation is there. That's why the tornado warning in effect now till 12:15, and that's north of Highway 84 in Decatur and Grady County. So those are the areas we are most concerned with right now. The main area of low pressure driving this whole mechanism, it's way up here, way up here. And that cool front, you can see where the back edge of the cloud cover is. That's over parts of northern Louisiana. So that's several hundred miles removed from where that convergence is, where these showers and storms are touching off. And anywhere between that and the boundary, we could see more showers develop. Anywhere out ahead of it, especially where that surge of warm air is, we could see more showers and more storms develop. We don't normally get a lot of systems like this here. This is something that's a little bit more common with some of those Central Plains states. But the setup is such today for us where this is what's on the order, and that's why it's such a messy forecast that is going to change frequently. And it's really hard to pin down timings of when we're going to have the worst of the weather. Right now, northern parts of Decatur and Grady County getting the worst of the weather, north of Highway 84, where that individual cell, it's one cell that has rotation picked up by the radar. I haven't heard of any reports of anyone seeing the actual tornado, but it doesn't matter. Once we get that radar signature of rotation, they issue the warning. Once you have that warning issued, now we've got to make sure that everyone in those areas is in their safe place. And those safe places are away from exterior windows, doors, and walls, someplace inside the house, lowest floor in the home. And if you are in a mobile home, you want to get to that mobile home shelter if you can. So that's the area of most concern right now, most concern. Well, notice the temperatures, what they're going to do is they're going to start dropping a little bit. A lot of spots are already seeing numbers up over 80, especially where we have some breaks in that overcast. And to the east, where we do have more of those breaks, that air is going to get warmer, more humid, and more unstable. And that's one of our concerns for some of those bigger thunderstorms. Notice as we take a look, looking west across Highway 319, we can certainly see a lot of those clouds getting thicker and lower. It's not raining yet in Tallahassee, but as we see those clouds lowering and getting thicker, we certainly have the chance for those more dangerous thunderstorms. Valdosta, a little further to the east, not only do we have some strong winds out of the south, but temperatures up over 80 degrees. Thomasville, we're at 77, closer to where those showers are. Tallahassee, where we have another good breeze out of the south, we also have a lot of clouds, numbers hovering around 79 degrees. And you can really tell where the rain's been coming down. Bainbridge, it's only 60 degrees, while Monticello is at 80 degrees. And that's because that rain will cool the air in a hurry. One of the things that rain can do as it moves into these unstable atmosphere is the rain, the cool air itself, will stabilize the air a little bit. So hopefully that can limit the potential for more cells to develop. But where that rain moves into that very unstable air before it has a chance to cool things down, that's when you can touch off those showers and storms. Look at these breezes we're talking about. From the south, 20, 25, 26 miles per hour. And when we talk about sustained winds, these are like the 1 or 2 minute rolling averages, not these 3 or 4 second bursts that we call gusts. This is the sustained wind. And a lot of people have been messaging me on Facebook and on Twitter telling me about the winds in their towns. And absolutely, it is breezy as all get out there. That's going to continue. Can you see where all these arrows are pointing up, and over here they're sort of pointing in? Where all those come together, that's that convergence I talk about. That's where that energy is, and that's where we have the best chance for the worst of the weather, and that's why we have that tornado warning for that radar indicator rotation north of Highway 84 in Decatur and Grady County. Now, further back to the west, and I mean way farther back to the west, what we've got here is the actual boundary itself. Behind that, the air does cool off, and the air does calm down, but that is several hundred miles to our west, and until that gets here, we're going to continue to have the threat for the dangerous thunderstorms. One of the other things we're going to be watching over the next 12 to 18 hours is the progress that boundary makes. Because if that boundary gets stuck across half of our viewing area, a quarter of our viewing area, just a little piece of our viewing area, that can provide the focus for more showers, more storms, more dangerous ones. And that means we have to keep the radars up going forward until that boundary can clear the area. So